We are busting out the flannel here at AEL. Long sleeves, because guess what? We're in May, and that is Australian winter. It is far too cold than it has any right to be now. I think it was 25 degrees today, Mendrix, and that's just not okay. Yes, it's time, though, because the action should heat us back up. It's World of Tanks.
Well, I can't wait to get into it, although we haven't actually felt the cold snap on our side of it just yet in New South Wales. So things, still a little bit warmer here, but I think, to be honest, 25 degrees sounds actually lovely. If it was just to be sit at that 25 degrees, I would have been very happy the entire time. So it's just
I'm calling you out, all right? I'm looking at Sydney weather right now, 21 degrees. That is long sleeve weather, my friend.
Nah, well, 21's pretty good. I'm okay with 21. I can go, like 21, I'm normally in shorts and in a shirt still.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just used to proper warm weather. Either way, though, yeah, enough about this. We got World of Tanks right around the corner. Another two interesting matches going to be today. We're going to be opening with the University of New South Wales taking on UON. Following that, it will be the University of Queensland taking on UOW. So two of our stronger teams versus two of our weaker teams, Mendrix. I feel like this could be a shorter night.
I 100% agree with that one there. But that being said, I know first up to bat, of course, you have got the University of Newcastle, and that's sort of been the dark horse of this competition for us. I feel that it will sort of give New South Wales a little bit of a run for their money. I think there is going to definitely be an opportunity for the underdog there to definitely come through and take something out. So definitely want to watch this first match with a little bit of anticipation to see, maybe there's going to be that upset, and that's something we can actually predict a little bit more accurately. But on the flip side of things, when I think about the University of Queensland, definitely the team to beat at the moment.
They are the favorites, and we'll see them later tonight. But before we go too far into the evening festivities, we have some sponsors we, of course, would love to thank. As usual, the AEUL is sponsored by Predator Gaming, the PC partner, AOC Monitors, our monitor partner, and RIG, the headset partner. Starting, of course, with Predator, you can get out there, you can conquer new worlds with Predator Gaming today. I've been doing so for the past 2 years. I still have my Predator Gaming laptop. It is still a fine piece of technology. I use it every day. Usually I'm playing more strategy games on that thing, but it's still, the cleanest, most pixel-perfect strategy games. You can see all the cards in Magic the Gathering Arena. They look so good, and I did used to run tanks on it as well. It ran it perfectly fine. So if you want to get out there and elevate your gaming experience in every way with quality and performances, go look at some Predator Gaming laptops. AOC, though, that's where you get that best viewing experience, and that's kind of more why, eventually we did get the tower. Eventually we did get, that better monitor, and AOC is always all about that. They are the global leader in monitor display technology. More than 50 years, they have been just finding ways to give viewers out there the best visual experience, be it, work, be it gaming, whatever your needs, AOC has something for you. And then when you have the good looks, when you can see what you're playing, it's all about that audio, your peripherals, RIG. That's what it takes to win. They develop headsets with superior audio for competitive gamers and streamers at all level. Not to mention, if you want to listen to some sick beats, check out RIG, what it takes to win. And speaking of what it takes to win, Mendrix, it looks like our players are getting ready to get out there and show us what it takes to win.
Oh, absolutely. And we're going to be, again, really excited to see what the University of Newcastle do bring to play in this scenario. And having a quick look at that, a little bit of interesting play there. Is that a light tank that I see coming into the field? The AMX 12 being actually positioned here by Napalm. And that's, if there's only one person right now from the UNW team, or sorry, not the UOW, the University Newcastle team, that I could really appreciate to run something a little bit different, with a bit more oomph, definitely would be Nate Palmer. Last week was actually just giving us a delightful show with some sharp shooting. So let's see if Nate Palmer is able to pull that off again. On the flip side of things, though, still going to be seeing those VKs. Epic, of course, using that one, and Leshy at the same time. And of course, we're going to see one little difference here: the M6, the new tank, making the debut this time around.
So I'm already catching off something that's a little bit odd for me right now. Normally on a Murovanka, you would see teams play more for that first point, but perhaps this is why you go for that light tank. It's to kind of mix up convention. We're looking at a 0.2 rush, and this is not something you would typically see in fives.
And you can look at it right now. UNSW seems to think it's that 5 strategy. They're already moving 2 tanks towards that first objective near the left side of the map. Typically, they like to park it around that church there, just look out for it to control. But University of Newcastle saying, you know what, let's just not play a game, going straight towards what seems to be that south objective instead. And this is really going to flip the script a lot for us in terms of what we're going to see. I mean, if there's one way to actually take out your opponent, just do something completely unexpected. And that seems to be why they brought that AMX, like you said.
Yeah, if there was any series that was more likely to go the distance this evening, this would be the one. And it would be because of plays like this. And I'm loving the setup that we're getting from UN right now. They're completely surrounding that second checkpoint. Unfortunately for Epic, they could find themselves flanked very, very shortly by Pope Gordon, who's not even on the light tank. That's the medium tank that's fighting a way behind the University of New South Wales strategy. So we'll see where they go from there. Epic is spotted out by Pope Gordon, and we could see our first shot. Yeah, there it is.
He's going to take it out there. Whoop, no, Pope Gordon's been spotted as well, but nothing really hit on that set. There's just a bit of a missed opportunity. You know what they say, you always miss every shot that you want to take there, but now they seem to be returning that fire, and Pope Gordon is the one taking most of the damage. They're down to 604 there. Another shot going to go a bit wide on this end of it here, but it seems that now they've given up this surprise attack here, and they haven't really landed what they needed to.
No, nothing's really connecting, and even Napalm was found out on that hill just to the right. Leshy is still hidden, however, yeah, just nothing being fired back University of New South Wales way. And for what was looking like an exciting flank, and perhaps that break in convention, is falling a little bit flat for UON right now. Epic just continuing to be sort of that point man for the University of New South Wales as the rest of them slowly make their way back down. Now Epic is starting to take some hits. Pope Gordon's shot, unfortunately, will ricochet. It was the damage coming from Napalmer, I believe, in the back. That's going to force Epic forward. You also have Arcadia in the backline taking shots at Pope Gordon. The engine is damaged, so that tank is moving slow. A sitting duck does get plastic. Epic gets the first kill.
Yeah, but as you can see, Epic now is also going to fall down. The other 2 tanks firing their shots, but Leshy now also spotted out at this moment in time. Seems to be in a bit of trouble in the scenario as well, because he's now down to 178. When you're looking at it, though, still 2 tanks on the board here. Plenty of HP to play with, and of course, we've seen Napalm pull off more impossible defenses before. So, to be honest, I'm not counting University of Newcastle out just yet, but UNSW definitely in a very commanding position. Of course, they are on defense at this moment in time. University of Newcastle haven't really made any dent on getting onto that objective or forcing any real point. As I say that, Napalm does jump on to see if he can force a little bit of a mishap from UNSW, but still they have 1 minute and 50 seconds to play with, 3 minutes and 30 in total on the clock. A lot of different things can really happen here now, but I'm still thinking UNSW have got the advantage.
Yeah, they do have the advantage, but as long as Napalmer is still sort of driving and still alive, I'm always going to have that bit of hope for UON. I mean, we all remember what happened at Mines last week, and if you don't, it was the 3v1 miracle win that Napalmer kind of pulled out, and it was amazing to watch. For right now, though, University of New South Wales, they're going to make their play through the village in and of itself, and unfortunately for Leshy, that could find them getting caught out. Asian Penguin would be the one to find them. Looking at that barrel, though, Leshy is looking the right way, so they will come across each other. The spots have come through. Leshy reacts defensively. Nothing fired just yet. Asian Penguin's going to try and reposition themselves. This does force Napalmer, though, off of the point, and that time will reset. Yeah,
realizing that Leshy is going to be in trouble there. Still needs the support of his member there, but Leshy now under fire, down to 700.
Oh, here we go.
Come in. Arcadia has sort of swooped things around. So has Asian Penguin trying to get Napalmer here, but they've actually surrounded Leshy in the back end here, and he's going to be going down very quick. And now up to Napalmer to somehow clutch out a miracle once again.
Napalmer's in the light take though, Mendrix. It has to go up against, the medium and the heavy. Granted, it's not the VK. I guess that's, the silver lining, but it's still a boogie and an M6. And yeah, it's not going to last too long. Arcadia is going to get that kill, and the first point goes to the University of New South Wales.
And it's just a typical play that we see from UNSW as well, right? These guys at RUKM, once they do make a decision, it is a commit to it. They don't really seem to have any hesitation. That's always going to be in their favor. And typically, that's what we've been seeing. Yeah, they stumbled a little bit against University of Queensland last week, but you can tell when they do decide to commit to something, they're all in, and typically that ends up giving them some success. And that's exactly what happened in this scenario here. Once they were ready to make that play onto Leshy, that was the commit there. There was really no backing up. They understood that, yeah, maybe she can fire a few pot shots at that moment in time, and they both swapped. That's what's really key about that. It wasn't a matter of like, Arcadia, he decided to take a shot, and then Asian Penguin was still trying to focus onto Leshy. No, they both said, hey, we've got Napalmer in the open. Let's swap, take a quick shot here at this point in time. Then, of course, Napalmer managed to get back into cover, quickly just immediately swapping that decision back to Leshy, right? They're very all in, all one move, on the same page, and what's really strong to have in this team.
Meanwhile, when I'm kind of looking at kind of what went wrong for Newcastle right there, I still like their setup and I still appreciated how they were trying to start something different. But Pope Gordon, who was that point man, who had the flank on Epic, walks out with the least damage to the team. Unfortunately, those early shots that really had to hit when they still had that element of surprise came up short. Now, I'm not going to discredit this team or say that their strategy was bad just because they lost. In fact, I think it was actually really, really good. And I liked what they were trying to do in this one. But when your light tank is doing the most damage, it is the only one with the kill, and you were the side that had the positioning and the flank advantage at the start of the matchup, you really need to kind of figure out, okay, that didn't work. We need to fix something. It's hard to say it has to be from a place of strategy. I feel like it's more from a place of mechanics at the end of that game.
Absolutely, Riley. The execution in terms of the strategy and getting a position was pretty much flawless. You couldn't ask for a better start. So what really came there was the fact that, hey, some of these shots missed, a little bit more practice, really just figuring out how to actually hit the tanks will probably go a long way. And it is tough, The idea is that you are trying to find a shot from, I think in that position was about 600 meters away. So definitely a long range that needs to be taken into account there for Pope Gordon. And yeah, unfortunately, even though he was able to get the spotting, managed to get that, didn't get those initial shots off, and it immediately that surprise advantage was lost. And you can just see the response from UNSW, the mechanics that they've had and they put the practice in really showed.
All right. We're about half a minute away from getting into our second map right now, Mendrix. It's tough for me to say that I think we're going to start to see the upset come through. However, if we do see UON make that upset, do we want to see them go back to a more conventional strategy, or do we keep running light tanks?
I really liked it. I think it's just a matter of, hey, sometimes you do miss those shots. I think they still continue to run that same sort of unorthodox strategy that comes into play and just hope that the execution the next time is correct, right? Because you can't really just discount a strategy the first time because it doesn't work. Especially when the idea is, hey, if the runner didn't trip over his shoelaces, he would have been at a specific point in time, and that would have made everything a little bit different. That's the point that comes into it. It's just, yeah, the strategy didn't work, but if you had everything working from the get-go, there's initial hits happening, it would be a completely different scenario. I would like them to stick with it. It seems to be the case, although T21 instead, so a little bit different there in terms of what's been provided. But again, on that light tank will be Napalmer, and I do like it because it provides a lot of information for Leshy and Pope Gordon to make some moves.
Also, a double medium tank coming from the University of New South Wales as well. So on the attack, they do want a little bit more mobility. The Cromwell and the Skoda being used as well. Again, that M6 once more. This is the first time, I think, so far this season, no VKs on one of the sides. Yeah, New South Wales, they've abandoned the VK.
Yeah, this is definitely the first time. At least one VK has actually made an appearance on the team in particular. So the fact that they've gone, yep, not this time around, don't even need the VK. You can tell they obviously want to execute a very specific strategy, very unique on this attack because they definitely spread themselves quite thin. They've got a number of splits coming across here. As you can see, their Epic's going to be out in front, might actually come across these two VKs, and it's actually going to be Penguin that's spotted out first, does take a shot onto Napalmer, but of course trying to get that light tank. Just barely hitting there, but will finally take a hit on the side here. And USW are just so good at landing those shots.
Yeah, they are so accurate, and unfortunately for UON, it was Napalmer who was the first one kind of chipped. I say chipped, though, because even though they're on that light tank, that really wasn't a lot of damage taken, but it does sort of reveal the positioning, and I think the big battle right now is between Pope Gordon and Epic. These two are kind of playing that game of chicken. Long shot onto Leshy. I think that came from Arcadia. Second shot did come from Epic as well, and now Leshy is going to be forced to fall back as well in the heavy. Arcadia was spotted out. Pope Gordon's going to throw some fire there. University of Newcastle, they are where Epic is sitting. Penguin as well has been found by Napalmer, who kind of reveals himself as well. You can see Leshy is going to be trying to act on that flank. In New South Wales, they might be getting themselves out position unless we see Arcadia start to push forward now, and that's a big chunk of damage. Napalmer is gone.
Yeah, that was really the disadvantage of having the light tank. Everything was looking good. Yeah, he got chipped. No big damage there, but right into the armor there. Completely wiped out the remaining HP. And now it's going to be a 2-on-3. Positioning looking pretty good here, though, for Pope Gordon and Leshy. But as I say, that Leshy takes 602 damage right into the side armor there as well. Completely obliterated. And that focus fire from UNSW takes another tank off the map.
And now it's Pope Gordon versus the world, and the world is going to come barreling in. That's it. Pope Gordon doing a pretty good job holding off Epic. As soon as Arcadia, though, crosses that road, I think the damage is going to be coming, and it could be a little bit too much for the VK to handle. We shall see, though. I mean, it is a couple medium tanks. There is a chance. The ammo got hit from behind by Penguin, and now Pope Gordon has to retreat, but it's going to be going right around the corner to Arcadia. That shot has to do enough damage, and it does. Pope Gordon finds one. Epic's already gone behind on the flank. The damage is not really there, and then the follow-through absolutely is. New South Wales take point number 2.
Yeah, it was just too hard there for the VK to actually make a turnaround and even do something after the fact. Yeah, you do manage to take out Arcadia, but at the end of the day, you can really see what happens when USW put their eyes on one target and just unleash hell. The shelling was absolutely nuts there, and it's, again, the shots just hit time after time.
Yeah, New South Wales is such a good team. And it brings questions still into who is the best team in this event. Because, yes, we did see, New South Wales and UQ go at it last week. And that was an amazing series. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like when New South Wales is playing at their best, they really have looked to be the most dangerous. UQ got the better of them, and I think a lot of it came from positioning, playing that map, and they came out on top in that regard. But if you were to go straight, like mechanic, pound for pound, I still think New South Wales probably is the better team in this event overall.
Absolutely. So luckily for UQ, though, they can, of course, use that strategy, can come into it as well. But what becomes a problem there is that if you do see the maps, they get to grow a little bit as time goes on. If UNSW is able to eliminate that advantage of strategy away from UQ, we could see a completely different winner coming into it. So even though we started the night saying, hey, UQ is a team to beat, every time, like you said, you see UNSW play, something goes in the back of your head. It sort of just changes that thought that little bit. But now that we can see what's happening, everything that's happened here, I mean, look at that damage from Epic, 1,916. Absolutely carrying the team in that particular round there as well. I mean, to be honest, 604, 870, can't really discount Arcadia or Asian Penguin in that scenario there, but Epic on that Skoda definitely running around and running amok. The next map is going to be Himmelsdorf. I know it's your favorite map, Max. What do you reckon is going to happen on that one?
Well, I reckon UON's going to keep driving light tanks because you can get the most aerodynamics out of them when you launch above the castle. Like, that's just the basic 1-2 on that. No, I think it's going to be interesting because last time we came to Himmelsdorf, it was very much a rush down the center with some coverage on the train line. And that's unusual, apparently, from what you would typically see in fives. You wouldn't normally see tanks actually try to hard push through the tank lines in the end. But the one team who was the best at it, we were kind of talking about them before, was the University of Queensland. And they used it effectively against UON. And that was kind of how they beat them, where UON, unfortunately, found themselves flanked at that point. Granted, coming into this one, New South Wales, they don't really like to experiment too much. They feel like, to me, a much more conventional team, so I doubt they're going to do a train line rush. But we know the train line rush has been effective against Newcastle in the past, so it has to be at the back of Newcastle's mind at least.
Well, the other thing to take into account is typically you do sort of use the rails as a means to get to the second objective instead. But I think what, like you said, is a little bit odd is that they just typically sit there. They go, yeah, we're going to use rails and we're going to sit on rails. And it is that idea of, well, there's only one real good spot that you can sit on, and then you can just jump onto it, right? Like they like to sit themselves in between those two, in the buildings on the soft side, tuck their way in, and of course you've got from areas from behind. Of course, you can go the more direct route, and a lot of it really is coming down to those corridors being covered by at least one tank. And unfortunately, if that tank does fall down, basically you will be surrounded and you're going to be stuck between a rock and a hard place. But we seem to be jumping into that action here this time around, and I think UNSW, they didn't want to use VKs in the previous map, but they definitely want to use VKs.
Have to make up for it. Have to make up for it. You can't go around without VKs. That's just insanity. So it's only VKs until the end of their games today. I reckon that's going to be their go. They will be on defense first. On the attack will be UON, and they're going to be rocking the KV as opposed to the VKP. So a slight change in tank variation, Pope Gordon. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is what we'd expect from this map. It's going to be heavy hitting. It's going to be a lot of, brawls with the heavy tanks. And when things get nitty and gritty, you really want that VK.
Yeah, and the KV does have its merits. I mean, yes, it doesn't have the same effective health as the VK. I mean, when you look at it here in the tier 6 tanks, the VKs really do seem to have the best all-rounder abilities in terms of what they bring. They've got decent speed, they've got decent effective HP, they've got decent firepower. Again, best all-rounder that you can really just sort of bring to the map, which is why they've just been seen time and time again in this competition, not just this season, but the previous season. But bringing that KV2 means if you do manage to get a few shots without really taking anything in return, that extra firepower does begin to add up over time, and it might help them net a bit of an advantage. And we've been saying, just beforehand, UNSW seem to have better mechanics up front. Well, sometimes you need to throw a little bit of RNG, and hopefully that goes in your favor to help make up for the fact that these guys are definitely hitting it a little bit better.
Yeah, we'll see how it does play out. What I find interesting right now is Newcastle, again, changing convention with their strategy. On the attack, last time we were on Himseldorf, as we were kind of saying before, so much more pressure was put on point 2 to the extent where sometimes it would be rushed just to get a tank on it, just to cause defenses to react, to kind of fall back out of, more tight held positions. That's not going to be the case for UON. They're more wanting to play forward that train line. They're more wanting to set themselves up in that regard. And Pope Gordon will get spotted out now. And that kind of might reveal that flank positioning, because you have to assume if you're New South Wales, someone is sitting pretty much where Napalmer is, right? Just watching that tank line. You've now seen a second player on that one side. So yes, New South Wales committed 3 members to the one side. Now they're thinking, all right, yes, this was the right choice. This is where they're coming from early.
But what was good for Pope Gordon there, he was able to actually be in a spot where he had a lot of cover from the building there, able to peek into it. I think he saw Asian Penguin in return, so he knows that, hey, maybe the jig is already up in this scenario, but they have committed to the sign here. Napalm still hasn't been seen, just hanging behind that train line on the side there, but not really making any moves towards the objective. I think trying to look more for the opposing UNSW team to find out the information and when they can actually make a move onto the point. They still have some time to play with. 4 minutes and 30 seconds really counting down at this moment in time. But of course, that does begin to tick away. And once you hit the 3-minute mark and nothing's really happened, that's when, if you're on attack, you start to get a little bit of the nerves coming in, because time is ticking away.
Yeah, now the shots are getting fired. A little bit of a pressure forward from Napalmer. Gets some shots down on Arcadia, but really that duel really so far has been the New South Wales member. Meanwhile, the rest of the team, well, they're kind of driving through Central Park right now. They're actually going to try and force the issue on UON as opposed to it being the other way around. And it's just an ambitious play, but Pope Gordon is going to be spotted out. Asian Penguin with the first shot hits the wall, but the follow-up shots from behind as well avoid any damage. Pope Gordon probably thinking they're lucky stars right there. Unfortunately, that barrel's facing the wrong way as around the corner we come, blasting into the side of Pope Gordon. It's a lot of damage up above. You can see that is Leshy's going to try to re-engage, but as soon as we go around the corner, poor Pope Gordon is just going to get mauled, and that's first blood going to the Penguin.
He didn't really do much damage there. You can see UNSW actually understand the weak points of the tanks that they're taking out as well. But Leshy and Napalm have come in and joined the fray as well. Some good damage right into Epic. He goes down to 805. Napalm in the middle of the fray trying to stop everything from happening. But you can see the focus target here for UNSW is going to be Leshy. Down to basically a sliver of HP, trying to walk away this moment in time. He's like trying to dip, but unfortunately he will as well. But now you can see the meaning to make him move around. He's going to use the building on the cover there. But Napalm lands a shot, gets another kill in return. But here we do have what seems to be Arcadia.
Here comes Arcadia, though. Arcadia ends this. Unfortunately, Napalmer just doesn't have the life to survive the 2v1. Deep shot from downtown will end it. New South Wales, they win the series. We're still going to play one more map, but the result doesn't matter because it's a dub to New South Wales.
And again, this is one of the interesting points of the game when the teams do get to have a little bit more fun in terms of what they do want to bring to it. Of course, it's been decided, for a fact that UNSW is coming to it, and you really want to see an SPG.
I want to see the Arties come out. I was talking to Midnight over the weekend, right? And his favorite memories were that of the artillery being brought out and never winning.
Because you see it and you're like, is it gonna land? Is it gonna hit? And like the most exciting part is when you see it actually hit, right? And you're like, oh, it was like, was it good enough? Because what we found most of the time is when the SPGs did hit, it just didn't hit a good spot in the armor, and so the damage was very minimal. But you have seen in the past when it does hit the mark, hits the right little area and the weaker points in the armor, and definitely gets a tank, the damage is absolutely enormous. So hopefully we do get to see something a bit beautiful, kind of like fireworks, It's that idea of like, hey, there's not too much happening here, but damn, does it look good.
I'm for it. All right. I'm always for fireworks in any situation, and I don't care if that sounds a little anime of me. It's just like fireworks, I think, make everything better. So hopefully we can bring that into this next map. And we've seen UOW already trying to break convention, I think, a couple times in this series. They're definitely having fun with it from a strategic point of view. Now that they've got not much to play for, except for, a bit of pride and maybe a tiebreaker win or not when it comes to the seeding at the end of the season, I think they go for something crazy. So I'm actually really excited to see what UON is about to bring to the table.
3 SPGs. Calling it now.
3. Well, you're only allowed
3
2.
artillery. All right? It's going to be coming in. Come on. Give me some crazy action here. I'm really, really interested in seeing when it just comes to it. It's going to be a bit of time there, but let's just break down, that last map happened as well. Napalmer once again doing an exceptional job there for the University of Newcastle. 1,400 damage. You can tell definitely one of the linchpins of the team. But of course, when you're up against Asian Penguin and Epic as well at the same time, that is pretty ridiculous. They're 1,970 damage. And of course, Epic doing it 1,400. So it really begins to show what the difference in the teams can do just by that metric coming across.
It was a lot. And again, it was just a situation, unfortunately, where I feel like Pope Gordon was kind of caught out in an awkward position and rushed down. And what struck me as I think the most concerning aspect of that rush down was the fact that Pope Gordon's barrel was facing the wall. It wasn't facing the corner where they knew that you had the 2 tanks on the opposing side about to come around that corner. I believe it was Epic leading the charge with Penguin right behind them. And unfortunately, that meant Pope Gordon was able to fall before Napalmer unless she could really provide that follow-up that they needed. There was a window because Arcadia was also pretty far back, and it took a while for Arcadia to get involved. And I feel like had Pope Gordon been a little bit more on the ball, maybe we would have seen that scrap go the other way. That said, we're loading in to our 4th and final map in this series. New South Wales already up 3-0, already have it done and dusted. No artillery, but we are getting another KV2.
Well, let's see if UNSW continue to stick to the tried, tested, true abilities of just rushing right on in, using that good old mechanics to their advantage here as well. I would like to see something a little bit more explosive as well, just sort of saying, hey, let's throw caution to the wind and see how quickly we can actually defeat our opponents. Of course, you do put yourself in a bit of a more risky position where if you do take things really rushed, that you will be in a bad position. Perhaps they put themselves in a good defensive entrenchment, and then you guys just end up being blown to smithereens. But you know what? I'm happy either way, as long as we get to see some fireworks here now.
Yeah, and I think we are going to see some fireworks in one way or another. Again, UON, they're probably the more ambitious attacking side. They'll try different things. You can see already with sort of the pathing that we're getting out of New South Wales, it's a lot more conventional. They're making their way along the bottom side of the castle towards point 2. That's where they're going to be looking to get some pressure down and in. I like the positioning of Napalmer, though. If anyone's going to catch out this early rush out of New South Wales, it will be Napalmer. The shots do come out, and no one's really making any contact with anyone, just a lot of vision being revealed.
Well, you can see if there was going to be another shot coming across there from University of Newcastle, it would have been right at that exact moment as well. Epic charging straight into the fray, looking down the barrel of Napalm at this moment in time. Does have a little bit of cover there. There is a bit of rubble that creates a small hill on that side, so we'll use that terrain towards their advantage here. But you can see Arcadia and Asian Penguin straight away making their way to that point just to tuck themselves right in the center there and basically force their opponents towards them.
How much do you think it costs to park there? That's the most expensive park in the city where Arcadia is.
They're right in the middle, aren't they?
Yeah, Yeah, that's like $150 an hour, I reckon. Like that's premier big city parking, and unfortunately for UON, it's their first day on the force trying to place parking tickets on cars, and they're on the wrong city block, not quite
You know
their
what?
district. They're
I
gonna
think
have
you're
to
going
fight
completely
through.
down the wrong aisle on this one. I reckon this is one of those ones you have to pay like the yearly subscription for it. So you're paying like 10 grand, like just to have the
Yeah,
benefit
just
of
a
being there
flat 10 grand.
for that
Yeah.
full year to be there. But speaking
Uh-oh.
of which, looks like these guys are a little bit jealous. Saying, you know what, we
Road
wanted to pay the 10 grand
rage.
too. Leshy's coming in front, a lot of damage right off the back of there. As you can see, he's just coming in to make those hits happen, force him off the point, but. Seems that life will be sacrificed in return for it. Says, you know what, you guys can keep the car space. I don't want it anymore.
Yeah, Pope Gordon
Please just let me move my life. But unfortunately, he's gone. Pope Gordon is like, wait, you know what? I do want that car space, but 3 people are in there right now, and it seems a little bit crazy.
Yeah, Pope is all flank and is going to try and turn things back around. Unfortunately, we've seen this before. Pope Gordon getting rushed with the teammate around the corner, and it ends the exact same way. We've also seen this before, though, Mendrix. Napalmer versus the world. Last time it was a 3v1. Napalmer was able to hold on. Napalmer was on defense then as well. However, there weren't 3 tanks sitting on the point at the time, and unfortunately for Napalmer, there's not much they can do right now. All 3 members of New South Wales know where they are. They're taking shots. Arcadia gets the kill, and University of New South Wales complete the clean sweep.
And again, there's the little things that you can see from UNSW as well. Sending Asian Penguin in first. Hey, I've got the most amount of HP. Let me go into the round there just to make sure I can get the execution off. You can see Napalmer has pretty good presence of mind, just saying, you know what, I'm going to try and get some kills on the side here as well. I'm just not going to deal with Asian Penguin until he's right in my face. But of course, again, that raw mechanics coming through was too good, and they were able to actually get those good little hits off. So, to be honest, Max, Formal, this was expected, let's be honest.
This was expected. Again, we were hoping Napalmer could kind of throw a spanner in the works, and we saw that in the strategy that was being implemented. Wasn't enough to get them the win, but I appreciate the attempt, and I feel like New South Wales is just playing really well. If New South Wales is having an off day, that first map was winnable for Newcastle. Unfortunately, New South Wales, they were looking better than what they did against UQ last week, right? Like, this was the best New South Wales we've seen yet, and it's a bit unfortunate that was the team that Newcastle had to play with this time around. However, that can change. Like, there's still definitely more dynamic strategies you could implement if you're on that Newcastle side. I'm excited to see where they go from here. And even though they didn't get the result they were looking for, I still find Newcastle to arguably be the most exciting team.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with that one as well. I think that's a lot of raw talent that can come through from Napalmer. If the strategies are just implemented that little bit better, and of course the execution comes across, we can see, I imagine, probably some different outcomes as well. So hopefully they can just grow into the competition. There's still a bit of time to make something happen, and of course, make a late run towards finals. Yeah,
and we'll see if they're going to be able to make that run. But for us, we're still going to be taking a break. When we come back, it's a little bit of international action as UOW will be taking on UQ in our second best of 5.
Hi, I'm Hanzi and I'm a cosplayer and streamer, and today we're checking out the Nitro 5 by Acer. This is honestly one of the smoothest gameplay experiences that I've had, especially on a laptop. The graphics are amazing, it's not laggy, it's very lightweight. The keyboard feels really nice to play with, and I love the RGB lights. Look how pretty they are. We love a rainbow. Yes! 4-star! 4-star character! If you're looking for a gaming laptop on the go, be sure to check out Acer's range.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Look, I think the action actually did heat up a little bit, Mendrix. I'm starting to sweat a little bit. That's just how explosive tanks can be, I suppose. And right now, if you're living in New Zealand, you're probably sweating a little bit because UOW has to go up against the undefeated UQ. And if history is bound to repeat itself, which I feel like it might, UQ, they're looking to finish the night undefeated as well.
And to be honest, if there's going to be an upset of the century for this competition, it's going to be right here, right now. And we've been talking about it. Yeah, UNSW looks so dangerous, but UQ do have a bit more strategy to it. And even though we're probably expecting UQ to come out on top, I think the games will be slowed down a little bit. They do like to take their time. I don't think it's an idea of, a mouse playing with, a cat playing with a mouse. I honestly believe it's a scenario of them just wanting to make sure that they do and execute everything correctly. And that's why they do like to take things a little bit slower. Perhaps they'll have a little bit different in terms of that strategy, going low instead of going high. And I'm expecting UQ to show us something a little bit more special when it comes to the execution and that positioning.
Look, if the mouse does want to play with the cat, though, I watched a lot of Tom and Jerry as a kid, and sometimes it's sort of that all-out aggression that can kind of do the mouse its favors. You just come at him with a bigger mallet or a bigger bat, and that's why I'm thinking if we want to see a way for UOW to get that upset, they can't afford to play UQ's passive game. I want to see them be aggressive. I want to see them be a bit more willing to get into these brawls and really leave a lot of these matches up more into those mechanical 1v1s, because if you're going to try to play the big brain game, I do agree you're probably going to lose out.
I feel like the first map, Maravanka, definitely is going to be the one they will play towards their strength. Again, there isn't as much cover around that map, but you do have the different ways of entry that can come into play. And if you do want to just come in from behind, we saw it happen with University of Newcastle, where they did find an opportunity to get a fantastic flank. Just sort of playing on that map, perhaps using some light tanks or even perhaps some medium tank in the mix as well. There could be an opportunity to actually catch off University of Queensland and take a match off them. And if they do that once, they can definitely do it again.
Yeah, so that is where our eyes are going to be on. We are 1 minute away from getting into our first map in this matchup right now. And I would ask you for predictions, Mendrix, but I already know what you're going to say. You're going to say UOW because you want to be wrong and you want to be different. But I'm telling you right now, though, UQ is going to win this one. That's my prediction, and I'm putting that under lock and key.
Lock and key. So are you a betting man? How much would you bet for that? I don't want to bet money.
I don't want to talk.
We'll bet some UQ as well. Like, what we're going to do? We're going to put money into the lot. All right, cool. Whoever wins, we just divvy our money back to us. That's what we're probably
Look. I have a UQ jersey in my room, so maybe it's a little bit of biasy right now. But like, I don't really think a money wager would necessarily be appropriate. But I don't know. I'd wager the beard. I'd wager this.
Wager the beard.
Yeah,
well, I mean, so you would wager the beard, but I didn't have to grow a beard if we're going to make this wager work.
So. That would be.
I feel like that's a lot more work than shaving the beard off.
Well, it's going to take a lot more work for UOW to win this one. We're about to get ready to go into the map right now. Like, I mean, no flame by any of this. I'm kind of rooting for UOW, but it gets a little bit more concerning for me when I see they're only playing 2 versus 3.
This is next level strategies coming into the mix here. Okay, they think there's going to be 3 tanks on the other side, but surprise,
running.
There is only 2, and that means that something is going to make things a little bit crazy here. But of course, I mean, Skelmis, MBS. Let's see what they're going to be able to do here. Perhaps the idea they are going to be able to attack, and again, if you have less moving parts, it means you can have a much simpler strategy. You can hopefully move around your opponents, but UQ definitely playing things very differently with those light tanks.
Yeah, we got 2 JG Panzers as well as Dark, who is playing this time around, so arguably the best player in this event. But they're taking a little Crusader around for a ride, so yeah, I think we're gonna see some shenanigans. We normally don't see this one, till 3-0 up on map 4, but we're just getting it straight away tonight.
I just caster curse myself. Like I even said, hey, they're gonna take things slow. They're gonna do positioning. No, 3 light tanks. Straight into the fray, light the fires, get everything there. We're dropping Napalm right now, and Napalm is sitting, I'm not even in this map.
No, but let's see what Dark can do. I mean, look, Dark might be the best player, but you still only have 680 health and 1 shot from Skelmis or MBS, and, well, that run's going to come to an end. Tanks do spot each other. The Light's going to try to get behind the house, and successfully is able to hide themselves for now. Skelmis might make the play, but it's all to set up the flank. That's where Hot Rod and Beast are waiting, and now Skelmis is in trouble.
Look at that. He moves out as soon as it's ready for the shot to come into it. He's like, yep. I know this VK's got roughly that 1 second that comes into it. I can then, when he fires, I can pop in. I can get 2 shots off, possibly even 3 shots into the DC, and just wow, completely deleted. And unfortunately, MBS now staring down the barrel of 3 tanks at the back here. Thankfully, they are relatively light in terms of what they're bringing to it. I mean, if you're looking at the overall HP, it seems kind of even, 1,812, but
yeah,
Dark's making a move.
Shot missed from MBS, and now it's getting hit from 3 angles. Dark's just going to try to position themselves fine. The tank can hide under the barrel of the VK. The Crusader was under the barrel. He can just park next to the VK and be perfectly fine. Yeah, that's going to be a UQ win.
Hot was like, that was so filthy, Dark. I am just going to give you a quick ram at the very end here to make things happen. And we're expecting some quick maps here, and actually, I was expecting things a little bit slower here, but I mean, we thought, yeah, it's still going to be a relatively quick night, but they have come, they've showed up to give us a bit of a show here. Wow.
I mean, we weren't expecting the 2v3. That did kind of catch us a little bit off guard, and that does change the sort of perception of this matchup as well, and probably not for the better, unfortunately. Not to mention, we're seeing UQ at their strongest when Dark rejoins that lineup. Yes, you know, they are that pro player. Yes, they're kind of like a sub, but apparently today was the day they decided to put them in the 3v2, and you saw what I saw, right? The Crusader could literally hide underneath the VK. What do you do when that happens?
You need to get the mechanic in and just reduce the depression angle just a little bit more. But just even then,
out the tank.
It's just like literally going to put the barrel right on the top of the tank at that point. You're like, okay, cool, sweet. We still can't hit it because it's blocking. It's literally blocking a depression angle. I think at that point, you get out of the tank and you just start lobbing grenades, right? That's all you can really do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's time to get out of the tank.
You just sit
time to play War Thunder.
You're useless anyway. Get out there, grab the shell, and just throw it from the top of the tank. Okay, get out of the hole and start throwing them.
Also, the other point of concern that I'm going to have to throw for UOW's way, Skelemus, the first one who was found out, 0 damage despite firing multiple shots at Dark. Nothing was able to make contact, and I know it's a tough ask. In the 2v3, though, you have to make some sort of impact.
It's kind of like getting the golden duck in cricket, isn't it? Where you're just like, no wickets on the first. Well, they call it the golden duck is when you're out on the first ball as well. You're like, yeah, cool, sweet. Yeah. Like, this is exactly what I wanted to have in this scenario here. So unfortunately, for Skelmus, they're not able to bring enough firepower to this one. But hopefully, in the next map, can turn that around and just get on the board at this moment in time. I'm all about incremental improvement here. I think I've said that throughout. That's my favorite phrase.
Yeah,
incremental improvement.
And it is, I think incremental improvement is almost the catchphrase of AEL when it comes to both the high schools and the university leagues that happen here, because that's always what we're going to be looking for these types of scholastic leagues, is that incremental improvement. That's sort of the aim for these teams, is all about growth in that regards. And while we're going to be looking for a bit more direct incremental improvement, I feel like we need to see Skelemus make contact and not ricochet. And hopefully we'll be able to find that. 20 seconds away, though, going into map 2. We've seen 2 distinct tank destroyers and a light tank from UQ. What are they busting out now, Mendrix?
Oh, come on. Please, surely it's the SPG. Solely we're seeing some artillery now. That would be... Could you just imagine, like, 3 artillery, and what they do is they just move themselves to the back of the map? They're like, all right, we're just going to start firing shots now on the point. And I hope that hits off the back.
No, I would want a scouter. I'd want 2 Arties and the scout, but we're not getting that. I briefly saw it before my screen kind of got a little bit pixelated, but it looked like it was 2 mediums and a tank destroyer from the UQ side, so a little bit of a difference. The Hellcat, though, coming out for Dark, and that is the first Hellcat I believe we have seen so far this season.
It's making its debut in this tournament as well, so... Good to see that we've got the Cromwell, though, on the flip side, and, of course, the tried, tested, and true VK for MBS. So let's see what's going to be happening. Of course, Hot Rod will be piloting that P43. And it's going to be interesting, to say the least, in terms of what can be done here. I feel like on defense, though, the University of Waikato has a little bit extra, all right? Like, they can actually just choose to sit themselves in a good position and then hopefully just fire off when UQ does jump onto those points.
Dark's just taking pot shots right now.
He is firing, isn't it?
Yeah, Dark's just firing pot shots, seeing what they can hit.
They haven't even spotted him, though. That's the point. He's just like, yep, sweet, shoot. Yep, sweet, shoot. Once again, the Hellcat just sprinting across the map. at this moment. Does cross over the road, getting straight towards that point there, and he is literally just a beacon. Has been spotted out now, so let's see if there ends up landing some hits there. And of course, the damage already got to Skelmis. I mean, please just let him get on the scoreboard this time, guys. Don't take him out that fast.
Unfortunately for Skelmis, they might not get that choice right now. Shots coming from two angles, as well as Hellcat actually is already on that second point, or was threatening. It's going back away, and that was a shot that looked like it ricocheted off. MBS couldn't quite make that solid contact, but it's going to be enough to push Dark back. Meanwhile, up above, Skelmis continuing to run away from both Hot Rod and Not Beast, as MBS instead pushes forward. Miscommunication between the two UOW members, and it's resulting in, well,
just like, can't shoot me if you can't see me.
Yeah, Skelmis is gone. It's all on MBS now. MBS, you handle the situation. I'm just going to go defend point 1.
He's literally gone to the other side of the map. MBS there, man against the world at this moment in time. Has been spotted out against Not Beast and Hot Rod there as well. Focus fire's coming in, even Dark's shooting from behind as well.
MBS doesn't even see them.
He's dropping.
There's no vision.
No.
MBS had no vision on the 3 UQ members, and still it's just pelted away. Now that Hellcat, I mean, if they want to, they can move to point 2. I somehow doubt UQ wants the capture victory. I think they're going to go on the hunt. Or maybe not. Okay, Dark is going to say, that's not as fun.
I think Dark's just like, you know what? If he's going to run away, I'll force him to me, to be honest, at this point. Because it's like you said, like, why would you... Well, I'm not going to play Skelmis' game. I'm going to play my game. And this is the only way we can bring it to it.
Not Beast is going to cut him off, though.
Oh, he's trying to run. They haven't been spotted yet, but here we go. Finally, they should see each other.
Oh,
the forest is presenting a pretty foliage there. No, he's been spotted out now.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
this is not end well for Skelmis at all.
Oh, the Hellcat
shots coming from Not Beast don't make contact, but now Dark is going to be able to see them. First shot comes from Hot Rod. Second shot comes from Dark. Neither do too much damage, yet it's that 3-tank assault.
Just ram me. He got damage.
Oh.
Yes. Skelmis, you got on the board. Good on you, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, no. It was team damage.
Oh.
I mean, so they were just shooting Dark. You know what? I might as well shoot Dark at that moment in time. Ugh.
I'd shoot Dark at that moment in time. I would. I would just do it. Give a pot shot or two. You can't be rocking that strategy that you did. Yeah.
No, he doesn't. She did. Skelmis got 133. All good. Yeah, on the board. Unfortunately, the MBS not on the board.
I mean, again, it should be worth noting MBS couldn't even see UQ when he was getting shot by all 3 of them.
That's like just the worst scenario, isn't it? When you don't even know where you're being shot from. Oh.
Yeah, it was not easy. And Dark once again finds a way to do the most damage on the team, although Not Beast was the one who got the 2 kills that second time around. So a little bit of love sharing coming from that UQ side. They're up 2-0 right now in the series. Only need to win one more map and going to Hibseldorf. I have a feeling this is looking like to be another 3-0, possibly 4-0.
Yeah, it's definitely looking that way. And it's not just the fact that, of course, UQ is definitely, the better team at this moment in time, but also the fact that the deficit of having that being 1 tank down is just too much to overcome, especially in a 3v3 format. If it was a 5v5 format, you don't feel the loss of that tank as much. It's still very important, but it doesn't feel as critical as having that extra person, because really, the more people that you have to it does over time just sort of reduce the effectiveness of adding to that idea of diminishing returns comes into play for each individual tank that you add onto the field. But of course, it happens inversely. The fact that you do take away those players, they become more important to have. And at 3v3, it is just crucial. You need to have it. That
said, the good news for UOW, they're getting it for the next round. Third member is coming back, I've been told, so they will be returning back to
This is it. This is the reverse sweep right now. I'm calling it. It's not going to happen. But, be close to it at least.
We already had our reverse sweep last week. We only allowed so much excitement, Mendrix, okay? We have to
This is still getting... I understand you're hot, and you don't want to get any hotter at this moment in time. I thought it was cold in Queensland at the moment. I thought you wanted a little bit of...
I feel like I'm regretting the long... Look, I was good in the long sleeves all day long, but then that was before you get the streamer lights on and you get, everything heating up in here, and then I just sweat naturally, like way too much, more than a normal human being should. So it is what it is, and we will be getting into our map in 20 seconds. Not the 2 seconds I was hoping for to bail me out of this hot situation. But no, we are going to be getting into it soon. Himseldorf is going to be, once again, the location. Last time we were here, UQ, they mixed it up a little bit. They really pressed along the train lines. I'm curious if they're going to do it again.
I don't think we're going to be seeing 3 light tanks. I think they understood that they had a bit of an advantage in that sense, and they were just deciding to play along those lines of, yep, let's be a little bit cheeky with our tank choices this time around.
Yeah.
And you can see they have actually opted into a bit more normal tanks in this scenario. There's still going to be a light tank there, but at least we've got 2 heavies in the KV2 and the T150, and the Churchill there, the GC is going to be sitting on the side there on North Beast. On the flip side, though, we are going to see Skelmus operating on the BKs along with Whale and the good old BUGI for MBS.
It also should be worth noting, yeah, Dark has been subbed out. Scorpio has come back in, so back to the normal UQ lineup. Their ace in the hole, just going to be staying on the bench for now, only brought out if needed. I do like seeing the Churchill being used by UQ. That's a little bit of spice as well, but for the most part, this is UOW's best chance right now to come back in this series.
Yeah, basically you could tell that, even though they have made the swap here, we know Dark is the best player. Although I don't really think he was needed on that last time around.
No.
The 2v3.
Yeah, what is that, actually? Let's break that down.
Yeah.
We have a 3v2 advantage. Time to bust out our secret
big
weapon.
Gun, right?
Against the team that's currently at the bottom of the ladder. And then now that it's a more competitive match, no, we got to put Dark back on the bench. Can't. Too risky. I don't know. It's very bizarre to me. It's like, I don't know. You only bust out Tom Brady when you're playing against the Detroit Lions or something. It doesn't make sense to me.
I guess it's that idea of, hey, we need to train up the other members here. There's no point training them up against a 2v3. So why not do it when there is going to be a 3v3? Okay, that's the only logical reason I can throw out there. Or maybe it's just, Dark could play at that point in time. Said, hey, I want to jump in for a few shots here. And then at that point went back to being happy.
That makes sense, because that's why Dark took the light tank, so Dark could rush as quickly as possible and then get the shots in.
Just get in and get out. Those pole posts have seen better days. Just immediately
also,
take them right on down.
I will say this: shout out to the skins as well. Like every university finding their own colors on their tanks. Little touches like that, I think, are kind of awesome. Here we go, though. Scorpio is going to spot the 3-man push down the wall, down the hill, whatever you want to call it. Probably a hill, because that's what it actually is, and not a river. There's no
down the road.
No.
Down the street.
I give up. I killed that metaphor before it even started. Hey, look, Scorpio's taking damage.
And from a good spot as well. That was a really nice shot there from MBS to actually get that through that little hole inside there. I do have Hot Rod, though. I'm managing to get from a good position here, and there's no real guard there. Normally, again, you'd have someone towards that side blocking that corridor, stopping Hot Rod from getting through. But, of course, the fact that MBS did manage to get that free shot onto Scorpio did reveal, hey, this is going to be basically a nice spot for us to get in from behind as well. We do have Nobis making the move here on the Churchill, and we've been told, look, I know the Churchill's a bit spicy, but this is supposed to be like that super wasabi spicy, right?
Yeah, this
is not a good tank. Let's be honest.
Yeah, especially sitting in the middle of the point, surrounded by UOW right now. If you did not have Hot Rod and Scorpio kind of drawing fire or drawing, spacing, you feel like Not Beast would be getting run down right now. The problem is MBS has already been taken so low from Scorpio, and Hot Rod is doing so much work on the other end. And unfortunately for UOW, they haven't been able to get any ground on that point, and they've already lost a member. So now Scorpio can press forward. That's going to cause Not Beast to go around the corner. Skelemis is going to get flanked from behind as Whale is looking to rush down Hot Rod up above. 2 skirmishes happening at the same time, although one of them is about to turn to a 2v1 as Scorpio just needs to get around the corner. That Churchill is down to 51 health. Can Scorpio make the save? I think he might have to, because Whale is winning the fight against Hot Rod. However, down goes the Churchill. Not Beast, well, not for this map. He's already out of this one. Shot and a miss from Skelebus puts the advantage for Scorpio, as Hot Rod is still staying alive despite being 250 health down against Whale. Scorpio wins out on that skirmish to the right, and to the left it's this 1v1 that, well, isn't going to determine the match, because eventually Scorpio is going to take a shot from behind. Ooh, doesn't do as much damage to Whale as I thought. quickly reloads. Here comes the next shot from Scorpio. Not quite. Hot Rod is the one who finds it instead. All good in the hood for UQ. They win the series.
Yeah, you can see Wales there was trying to find the shot. So I think at that point he wasn't even dancing. You can see Hot Rod was dancing back and forth just to stay alive. I think that's one way you can really make that effective HP just really last a little bit. There's the idea of, hey, I'm just going to be jigging from side to side. That way, of course, it gives me a little bit of extra survivability, makes it so that the shots may miss, and definitely played out well there for Hot Rod in the end there. And it didn't look the best for UQ. I mean, of course, that chilly dog that decided to make its way into the map didn't really do too much on the Churchill. 256 damage onto the board there, but of course gave a little bit of fun here for UQ.
You know, I went to see that movie yesterday, good old Sonic 2. I didn't eat chili dogs. I failed. Now that you bring it up, and I'm disappointed.
Do we even have chili dogs at the cinemas?
No, not the one I went to.
It's not hard. It's hard to be honest. I feel like that's definitely a missed opportunity for like the cinema. If they're showing, they should have chili dogs if you showing something.
I mean, look, the showing I went with a bunch of friends in the middle of the day, essentially, and like there was only one other family that was there, so it wasn't a popular screening. Say what you will about Sonic 2 as a result of that. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was fun. I give it a good 2 out of 5 on my rating scale.
A good 2 out of 5. It's just the exact same rating we'd give to that Churchill tank.
It's the rating I'd give to UON's performance. UON's performance got a good 2 out of 5. UON today was Sonic 2.
Okay, fair enough. Who was Knuckles? Who was Eggman?
Oh, look. I think Eggman was actually Dark before on the light tank.
Makes sense. Just like rushing into the fight, just like, yes.
Exactly. Actually, you can also say that's Sonic and Knuckles. I don't know. Strategy is no one's strong suit when it comes to Sonic, but strategy has to be the strong suit right now for UOW if they're going to come back in this and maybe get a fun win in. Again, this is map 4. We know UQ likes to troll around. This could finally be the RD time. Please be RD time.
I mean, look, I would love to see it come into the fray, purely because if there's any time to do it, now is the time, right? I mean, why would you play a Churchill and not play an artillery? Okay, I feel like they're just messing with us at this moment in time. The commentators want artillery, so we're just gonna go something completely different and just go light tanks instead.
I just realized UQ's not going to give it to me because, like, whenever I cast League of Legends, I always want to see the Aurelian Soul. UQ locked it in and then had the lobby remade just to spoil my fun. So you know what? They're not gonna.
Yeah, it's just a placeholder. This is just a placeholder tank. You know
it's
what I mean?
Placeholder tank.
I'm not actually gonna play the this SPG now. We're gonna play this VK. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play this VK instead.
Oh, that's just pain. What do we see? I don't see. Wait.
AMXs.
We got AMXs. That's pretty good. I can't complain about AMXs. All right, UQ. That's fine.
It is funny just looking at the HP differences when you do bring like the light tanks into it. It's just like 3,420 for the University of Waikato. Grasshopper is definitely looking very strong there against 2,290. But again, you are going to be relying, of course, on the extra speed that are being brought through from it. So Hot Rod and Not Beast will be screaming across the map as we do go into this final match here. Of course, we won't be playing the tiebreaker because UQ have already won, but they are going to be on the attack here. So this should be very interesting to see how they play it out. And now, what are the chances they're just going to run this right off the cliff right now, Max?
Low. As much as we'd love to see it, as much as it would be the optimal strategy to, end the night earlier, I think they are going to kind of try and create something. I mean, Hot Rod living up to their name right now, just zooming along, just right out front.
That's why I love light tanks. It's just so much. Even though I know for a fact that I probably can't personally do it. Look at that skid. A little drift just to the side as well. Hey, coming in.
Not Beast kind of went into the wall. Cromwell's MBS, that's going to be the first damage. It's actually Not Beast taking a fair bit of abuse right now. And you can see all the way back there, Scorpio in the KV2 trying to get over the hill. First blood, though, is found. MBS falls and the 2 light tanks put in the work.
That was just, it didn't look good at the start there because at first, the first few shots just didn't hit, right? You're thinking like, oh, look, maybe UQ's in trouble here. Not Beast going to take him down low. I mean, to be honest, only one shot is all you need to take him down low. But then the focus fire directly afterwards, of course, the fact that they're going to be auto-load is able to get those extra shots in very quickly, and you can see just that extra damage coming across. And they're going to spend a little bit of time, get themselves ready to roll before they do want to jump around the corner here and take on Whale.
Yeah, let's see if they're going to find that avenue to go after Whale. Whale is actually feeling very ambitious and looking to press forward. And considering that UOW should be on defense, I'm surprised this is the approach they're going for. And as soon as they go around the corner, hello, all three members of UQ, they're waiting and they are rushing the Whale down. That is not what you want to see, especially when the KV is leading the charge. Second member of UOW falls.
Yeah, Norpies was literally the bait there. It's like, look, you can see me. There's no one else here. Come and get me. As soon as he pops around the corner, that was it. And look at these guys moving in unison. UQ just seems to be a different team. I mean, yeah, they're definitely on top of it before, but they just seemed a little bit scattered against USW. Now, it feels like they're on the same page. These guys looking very strong as well. And you were saying beforehand, USW, they look really good. Maybe UQ is not the strongest, but they're just showing us up right now in terms of saying that. I feel like this is a very strong showing here from UQ.
Yeah, this was a great little turnaround from the UQ side. Well, I mean, I say turnaround now. They've been in the driver's seat since the start, and they're continuing to maintain it. And I feel like we've seen this before, Mendrix. Us? Are we feeling a little smart? Nope, don't go around the corner. They're all there. Oh, but you have to, and it's never going to work out. Now,
how quick these tanks are just coming in.
That will do it. UQ gets the win. Unfortunately for UOW, you know, just on the corner of RIG Street, it was not meant to be.
Nah, definitely not the case there. And it was a lot of fun towards the end. They're just bringing out those two light tanks. And it shows, you know what, perhaps the light tanks deserve a little bit more showing in the competition. I feel like they can be used in the correct stances. It's just the margin for error is so little. You have to be on point there to make sure. Because, again, two shots, you're removed from the map, right? You need to make sure that when you are going into that engagement, you know exactly where you're going to be shooting from and where your retreat path is going to be, or else you will be blown to smithereens.
And we saw some people get blown to smithereens. Quite a fair bit on that UOW side. UQ, they get the win. They continue their run, and they continue to remain undefeated. Not too much of a shocker overall, their Mendrix. But looking ahead, again, New South Wales still kind of gearing themselves to be that other contender. And I know we saw it last week, but I still want to see these two schools go at it once more.
Oh, I 100% agree on that. We do kind of look at this now and say, yep, when it comes to what was going to be the final match, that's probably going to be UNSW in their final form up against UQ. Of course, has been just sitting on the leaderboard the entire time, just saying, hey, come at me, what have you got? So they're going to have to really bring it to it. I mean, UNSW, though, did look really good against UQ in the first two matches. Because it was, again, we were thinking, yep, they just won 2-0. All they need to do is win one more on the match point there. And then it's going to be all that pressure just literally being thrown at UQ, and they're able to turn it around. So I think it is definitely going to be still anyone's game between these two universities. And I'm still excited to see what happens for the rest of these other teams as well. Because if they can get to a point where they will be competitive against UQ and UNSW, things will just get more exciting for future competitions.
I have to mirror that exactly. So hopefully we do get to rise that level of competition. But for tonight, 2 quick 4-0s. Pretty nice, neat, tied up in a fun little bow. But the action is not over. Join us again next week as we're going to continue our World of Tanks. But before even next week comes around, if you want to find out more about our upcoming events here at AEL and live streams, do check us out at /AU Esports. AU Esports, pretty simple. AU Esports League on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also find us on Twitch at /AEL Uni and /AEL Uni 2. Thank you once more to our sponsors of this event, you know, our gaming PC partner in Predator, our monitor partner in AOC Monitors, and our headset partner in RIG or Rig. Big thank you to all of them. Big thank you to all of you tuning in. And until next week, have a great time, everybody.
Hey, I'm Mastro. I'm a Call of Duty Warzone streamer, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Predator Helios 300. So my overall experience using the laptop, one thing I noticed straight away was how similar it was to using a desktop setup at home with a standalone monitor, for example. With the high refresh rate in this display, when I was inputting button presses, there was no delay whatsoever. Everything was really responsive. And because of the RTX 30 series graphics card as well, Warzone's a very demanding game, but the laptop was performing very well. And for me as a streamer, one thing I thought about was I could actually take this laptop, if I'm going away and I want to still stream, I would be able to put everything I need into this laptop, my controller, my webcam, plug into the USB ports, and I'll be able to stream on the go as well. So if you're a Warzone player and you want to be able to have an option where you can take it on the go, this laptop is actually perfect for you. Hey, I'm Mastro. I'm a Call of Duty Warzone streamer, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Predator Helios 300. So my overall experience using the laptop, one thing I noticed straight away was how similar it was to using a desktop setup at home with a standalone monitor, for example. With the high refresh rate in this display, when I was inputting button presses, there was no delay whatsoever. Everything was really responsive. And because of the RTX 30 series graphics card as well, Warzone's a very demanding game, but the laptop was performing very well. And for me as a streamer, one thing I thought about was I could actually take this laptop, if I'm going away and I want to still stream, I would be able to put everything I need into this laptop, my controller, my webcam, plug into the USB ports, and I'll be able to stream on the go as well. So if you're a Warzone player and you want to be able to have an option where you can take it on the go, this laptop is actually perfect for you.